All right, everybody. How you doing? Uh, got a few minutes? We'll talk to you about some stuff. And a happy Sunday morning to you. You know what I want to talk to you really quickly about? I was just talking about somebody about this the other night. How I started to turn oh no into thank you. This is what I'm talking about. Every time somebody disses you, trashes you, treats you like crap, throws you in the trash can, and all of that has happened to me, trust me, you can just thank these suckers for that. Thank them. They're doing you a favor. Because every diss, every doubt, every person that threw you in the trash can is doing nothing but adding a little bit of juice to your future joy account. Trust me. I was watching the video, the Brady Six. It was about Tom Brady. I'm not a Patriots fan or anything like that, but he got dissed his entire career. And then what did he do? He comes into the NFL and he turns his 20-year career into a revenge tour. And what did he do? Won 7 Super Bowls, went to 10. Young Jalen Hurts, the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, right? Wins the Super Bowl. Everybody was, he's the greatest, he's the greatest. And then 8 seconds later, well, he ain't that good. What do you think he's going to do? Think he's not going to be motivated by that? And you can do the same thing on a smaller scale because Lord knows I did. I'm going to tell you a little story. Young me. And for those of you that listen to my original podcast, you've probably heard this story before, but these new people haven't, so I'm going to tell it. Young me, dating a lady that's older than me. And we're both in our 20s, but I was in my early 20s. She was in her late 20s. And let's be honest, 20 and 29 are not the same thing. They're both in their 20s, but they are two separate animals. Like, like I'm in my mid 50s. If somebody else was 50 years old and I'm 50, whatever, or you're 48 and I'm 55, there's really not that much difference, right? I have some relatives that are in their 40s and I'm in my 50s. I mean, am I smarter than they are or more experienced? Yes, but it's not that big of a difference. I can't walk in and go, hey, you do this. No, I can advise them because I'm a little older. It's like people who are a little older than me, somebody's in their 60s, they can advise me, or 60s or 70s who got 20 years on me. They can give me some advice and I'd listen to, but they can't tell me what to do, right? So the age difference doesn't seem like much, but it is a lot, my friend. So I'm thinking I have a girlfriend because I see her all the time. I drive by her house all the time. I leave my stuff in her house, right? Because I'm always there. I'm not gonna say what we did, but exactly, right? So what starts to happen is I have some stationery that I use for my stand-up because I'm a retired comedian, but at the time active. And I put it in her house. It had my picture on it, address, and I would put resumes on it and all this kind of stuff on there. Sometimes I would attach pictures to it, and I had a picture of me in the corner at the top where the mailing label is. And I left it there, and I would grab a few if I needed to make some resumes or whatever. She was my girlfriend, my girlfriend. Me, all mine, mine, mine. That's what I thought. And you know when you're getting serious with a lady, you get up in the morning, she's still sleeping there. I walk over, I'm getting up and I'm about to get dressed and leave. So I got some stuff to do. She's laying there, and I see her laying in the bed, hugging the pillow with a smile on her face. Right, the covers right comes right to the middle of her back, and I see her exposed back, how pretty it is. And I write the love notes, the cosmos and the one with the stars. Your eyes are the thing, the twinkle in the stars and the cosmos and all of that crap, right? And I felt that, and I wrote that. And I'm good at writing stuff. And I used to just write notes like that every morning when I would leave while she's still sleeping. Or if I just wanted to leave a note someplace. I did that kind of crap, right? So one day I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna have to do a whole bunch of resumes. So let me get this box and take it with me. So I took the paperwork with me with my picture on it. I took it with me, took it home because I needed to make a whole lot to send out some tapes and all that kind of crap. And I go into the box and what do I see? I see this beautiful love note in her handwriting. Beautiful love notes about those, just like when I would write those flowery things about her. The stars, the cosmos, your eyes are as one with the dew and the soul and the thing and the pyramids. Nothing is more beautiful than us, and together we are the one, the greatest. Then everything's fantastic. That's what she wrote. But as I sat there smiling, thinking about how great it's going to be the next time I see her after reading all these beautiful things, I started noticing some of the places that she referenced were places we had not gone Ooh. And I started noticing that the times and places were times and places where I was doing a show in Washington, D.C. this weekend. And wait a second. And I looked at it and looked down, and there was another one. And what it was a series of love notes. But it wasn't a series of love notes. It was different drafts of the same love note. She wanted to get it just right. She didn't just want to throw it off. No, no, no. She wanted to get it just right. And here's the kicker. Obviously, it wasn't written to or about me. When you're that young and you really think something's going to your first really serious adult relationship, you think anyway, and you find out that the person does not care about you like that, it's one of the most soul crushing things ever. Every time somebody goes, and then it felt like my stomach dropped. It does feel like your stomach dropped. And my heart started beating quickly. Your heart does start beating quickly. It felt like I was dragging an anvil. It does feel like you're dragging an anvil. Because that's what it felt like to me. Anyway, I go and I confront her about it. And she was less than gracious, right? Because essentially, the way she described it is I was just something she used for her gratification because she enjoyed certain things that she liked certain stuff. And I was a supplier of the stuff she liked. But she wasn't serious about me. You're cute, but you just, I mean, you're not even old enough to drink yet, and you just all this dismissive crap. Where the night before I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread, and now all of a sudden you ain't all of that crap. Besides, that guy had money and I didn't. I was broke as hell, and that guy was had some serious money, and he was older than her, and definitely older than me. I was just being used. Now, had she just said to me, listen, you're cute. I like what you do, if you understand what I'm saying. So, you know what I'm going to do? I don't want a relationship. I'm not interested in a relationship. We can just do that sometimes. You know what I'm saying? We can do that. And then if I find somebody I really like, that's older and more, more in my age range, and I'm just going to have to do what I got to do. If she had told me that, you know what I would have said? All right, because no guy who's 20 years old or 19 years old or whatever the heck I was is going to turn down some Halle Berry looking woman who says to him, by the way, just come over and jump on top of me 4 times a week. And then if I find somebody that has some money that's closer to my age that I want to be with, who's more established, I'm just going to go off with that guy. I would have at least had the option of making the decision. And being a 20-year-old man, I would have made the decision once again to go, I'm cool with it. But I was led to believe I had a girlfriend. Like I said, you can turn an you can turn an oh no, right? Oh no into a thank you. Now, how did I turn that oh no into a thank you? Well, at first it felt like, once again, stomach drop, heart beating, feel like I'm walking around with an anvil. I felt crushed, destroyed, and everything. But over time, and not that long of a time as it turns out, I was cool. I realized I can survive this because I really thought this was going to be a wife or something like that. And she ripped my heart out and she was not gracious about it at all. She was actually going out of her way to be mean about it for some reason. I don't know why. I was never mean to her, but I survived that crap. And when I went out with the next lady, I didn't hold it against her. She didn't do anything. What did I learn? I went from, oh no, to thank you. Because I knew at that point I could survive getting my soul ripped out. It grows, metaphorically speaking, grows right back. And so I wasn't mad at her anymore. It was a mean thing to do, but I said, thank you. You taught me what I could survive. That's story one. Story two. I am a retired stand up comedian. Damn good one. Yeah, I said it. And I also am a podcaster. Oh, that's my phone notification. Sorry about that. I'm a podcaster. I have apparently, somebody's listening to my podcast right now. I'm not going to edit this out. Let me turn this volume down. That's my notifications on the phone. But I am a podcaster by trade, uh, a podcaster, obviously, and a comedian. And well, you guys know that already. And Okay, see, this is kind of weird because I'm trying to and I'm not editing this out either. I'm not editing that out. All right. So anyway, I have the two podcasts. The first podcast called S. Anthony Says. Some of you have listened to it. I've seen the stats. And the other one called the S. Anthony Thomas Show. The S. Anthony Thomas Says podcast, my original podcast, basically is me in character. I mean, it's still me. I use my name. But when I grew up watching TV, one of the things that people used to always do is you'd have a comedic persona if you were an actor or an actress, whatever. Say you were a cheap person in all your movies or you're a tough guy in all your movies. And then you'd visit somebody's sitcom or talk show and you kind of stay in character, or you'd go completely opposite. If you were the tough guy, you'd be afraid of everybody. If you were the rich guy, you were really cheap with money, and you do a cartoonized version of yourself. And my first podcast, as Anthony Says, is a cartoonized version of me, and I'm the only voice that's on that show. Solo podcaster. Started the second podcast, this Anthony Thomas Show, for interviews, and sometimes I do the wacky stuff I did on the original podcast, but I wanted that to be a separate type thing. So I started interviewing people, and everybody was having a great time. I had podcast month where I interviewed podcasters. I had comics on, authors on, actors on. I had award-winning writers on. Right, you can go listen to that. Now that's not a plug. I'm telling you that to make sure that you understand this point. I booked somebody for the show, right? And I was kind of nervous. I wasn't nervous just doing the first podcast, but the second podcast kind of made me nervous because I'm interacting with other people and I had never done interviews before. I booked somebody for the show, promote the show, and this guy had a little bit of a name, right? And all of a sudden, on the day of the podcast, I had confirmed the dude just ghosted me. Just out of nowhere, ghosted me. I had reminded the dude, I had made commercials and well, I mean, to edit up a commercial, put it on Facebook or whatever. I had made people knew I was saying who I said who was going to be on. The day of the show, blew me off, ghosted me, disappeared, didn't say anything. I had to reach out, ghosted me, got the person on the phone, made up dumb excuses. Well, I read it, rub it out, and I just was like, man. It was kind of like when you ask a lady out and she says she's not interested. Well, she'll say, if you ask graciously, you're not an obnoxious person. You just go, I was wondering, she'll go, well, I'm kind of busy. A lot of times they say, I'm really kind of busy. What they really mean is, I don't want to date you. But you were respectful in the way you approached me, so I'm not going to blast you. I'm just letting you know I'm not interested, and that's cool. You just go, okay, thanks a lot, and you move about your business. You don't get mean to the person. Well, this thing, I had set up all my equipment, the equipment I was using at the time, and I put some time into this. I promoted it, like I said. Person just ghosted me like that, and I was like, oh no, oh crap, right? But once again, I went from oh no to thank you. Now, how did I go from oh no to thank you in that instance? Because I remembered my original podcast, which I did then, still do now, was a solo podcast, which means I did the whole show myself. So when this guy didn't show up, I did the entire episode myself, and it went fine. So I knew from that point on, it didn't really matter if the guest for that show didn't show up because I could do the show by myself. And you know what? Just as many people listen without the guest as with the guest. And in fact, I started to notice something. When I watched the metrics of those particular episodes, when it was just me, the audience listened to every second of the podcast. There weren't any dips. They even listened to commercials when I had commercials. They listened to that. They never turned away from it. So when it was me by myself, they listened to every single second. Huh. And I was nervous. I mean, I was even afraid. But is there a reason to be afraid if the people who listen to you like you enough that even if you don't have a guest, they listen to every second of the podcast? So when this guy goes to me, I was, oh no. But when I did the show by myself and realized I could do the show by myself with zero notice and people would still love it, I say to that person silently then and out loud now, even though I'm never going to say what this person's name is, thank you. You made me aware of abilities that I didn't know I had. The ability to do a podcast with zero notice and have people enjoy it anyway. Just remember that. When somebody doubts you, trolls you, says all sorts of stuff, like when I was heavier than I am now, hey, he's that, ha, 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 ha. When I was on the treadmill, I was lifting weights, but I was doing kettlebell and I got a little tired. And there was a part of me that was like, I could take a little light today. I remembered those people. And was I discouraged or embarrassed? No. I went from, oh no, to thank you. Because if it wasn't for you on this particular day, I might have done a couple of less sets. But when I finished those sets, if I had finished those sets, it would have felt great accomplishment. But the simple fact that I used your crap as fuel to push me further, you did me a favor. It's just like I was driving someplace and I was using my phone and I wasn't really paying attention to how much battery power was left. I'm navigating to a place that's far away and I'm looking at my phone. I'm going 14%. And I looked down at the Google Maps and then said 1 hour and 27 minutes. That 14% is not going to last an hour. I'm like, I don't even know what this place is. I pull over. I'm like, what the heck am I going to do here? And I remembered, those little things that you use to like to jump your car battery, right? And those things you use to pump up your tire that are that are basically big batteries. I'm like, wait a minute. I got two huge battery packs in my car, the air pump and the jump box. So I took a long cord that I had that I always had in the bag, plugged it into the USB-C port of my phone, and plugged it into the battery pack. More than enough power, obviously, to get where I'm going and to get back without even tapping into the power, just even draining those power packs that much. Just think about that. Now, what did I say that for? When you get tired and you're beaten down by the world and people tell you you're not good enough, your girlfriend or boyfriend dumps you, you have friends that you thought were friends and they throw you in a trash can. Maybe your family doesn't believe in you. Maybe the world spits in your face and treats you like crap. Guess what? You're at 15% or 10% on your battery. But if you use the disses correctly, the trolling, the throwing in a trash can, the people that don't believe in it, if you use it correctly, you can be like that phone that was in my window. That cord that connects you to the battery, that's me. I'm that cord that's connecting you to that battery. That's what this episode is. This episode is that cord. You're that phone, I'm that cord, and that battery is all the bull stuff people were talking about you. I'm connecting to you right now. They're doing you a favor and you don't even realize it. Everybody that called me, quote, fat boy, did me a favor because I'm still technically fat boy. But by this time next year, I'll be fit boy. The girlfriend that did that to me back then, it let me know what all the red flags were. So I see them now. And even if something bad happens and they get dumped or cheated on, I know I could survive it because I already did. And if there's a podcast in the future, whether it's one of my other two podcasts or the one that you're listening to right now, if somebody disappears and if I had a guest for some reason, I already know I could do the whole show by myself. You're the phone. I'm the cord that connects you to that battery, which is the disses. Use the power of those disses to charge your battery. You understand? That's what I wanted to talk to you about this Sunday. My friends, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, and I will see you again next time. Unc S.